It's official. The Haunted Mansion is open. We've made it. It's great news. Plus more to see over the walls, including that little mystery right there. And there's more good news from around the park. Redwood Creek is open, plus some great signs indicating that Portos is back on track. But we'll start with this scene found Friday afternoon at Avengers Campus. Deadpool is here.
Hi there. Oh, I know what you're all thinking. Whose ears did I have to wear to get my very own show at Disney? It took a lot of begging, and I spent a lot of time on my knees begging to get into this park. So thank you all for joining us.
And I almost find it hard to believe that, first of all, that Disney made a Deadpool movie, a good Deadpool movie, but then they brought Deadpool to Disneyland. On Friday afternoon, I found this scene. Storytime with Deadpool is now showing. Per the calendar right now, 4 shows daily starting at 1:40 p.m. This is in the Q space for the Hyperion Theater. And just a heads up, you will be sitting. If you're near the front, if you get there early, all these guests that are in your frame right now, those guests will be sitting by the time the show starts, just like they do at Doctor Strange. So just a heads up for those of you who are looking to see this show. The show's about 8 or 9 minutes, and it's pretty good. I have to say, I enjoyed it. It's obviously, PG. There's no swearing or anything like that. Kids will be fine with this. And it's entertaining. The costumes were terrific. They look great. Wolverine even was great. I mean, it's easy to pull off Deadpool, I think, because he's got the mask, but even the Wolverine was pretty good. It was a fun show, and you can find Deadpool. Well, you could on this day. I'm not sure how long they're going to be doing this, but if you were there on Friday, you got to see Deadpool wandering throughout Avengers Campus. I'm going to be there again on Monday, on this day that you're seeing this. I'll be here. I'll be at Avengers Campus, and we'll see if I can find a little bit more action with Deadpool then. But he's here. He's happening. It's a great time to be alive if you're a Deadpool fan, and it's a sign that, in my opinion, that Disney is capable of pulling off entertainment films like this, characters like this, and 2, that they are ready to move. They are moving into a new generation of guests. Make of that what you will. Some folks are not ready for Deadpool, I'll say that, but it looks like Disney is. Personally, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Deadpool, and I'm a fan even more so of Ryan Reynolds. So that's Deadpool. We'll stay in DCA and give you guys some more good news. I think it's good news. The Golden Vine House has opened for guests. This is in place of the Blue Sky Cellar. This is a DVC lounge, a DVC welcoming center, as it were. It is now open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I did not go in because I'm not DVC. I thought, actually, I could have asked. I shouldn't. I figured I probably should have, but I don't know if non-DVC guests can go in there. I'm going to have to check in on that. Maybe somebody can tell me. But at least it's open and it's available for guests. It's no longer under construction. Also great news. Redwood Creek Challenge is open. There's lots of good news. Lots of things are happening. Disneyland is on its way back. We're in recovery mode right now. Redwood Creek is open. We took a walk through to see if we can spot any, updates, any changes to the attraction, to the site that are in relation to what we think they were in terms of Villains Grove and Oogie Boogie Bash. And there are things here that as we're walking in, you may have noticed. I didn't notice right away. I didn't notice until later. But it's for the most part, it is just like it was. I think those installations, right, those lights back there, I think those are new installations, permanent installations for lights. I don't have any footage to go back and look at because I didn't have a reason to record that space outside of the Villains Grove timetable. So I'm not sure if those were permanent or not before. And as we walk along the backside of the attraction, see that right there on the left? That was another thing that I didn't notice right away. I kind of felt it in my periphery. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there before, but what I'm looking for now is you'll see the off-colored supports there. Those were the things we could see from the ground outside the fence. I'm not sure if that's finished, but there's 2 tones of wood happening here. there's that dark brown and then more of a blonde brown happening on those structures. I'm not sure if that's because they were replaced and haven't been finished yet. I'm not sure. This is the path where, this is the Alice in Wonderland section of Villains Grove. And this is where I'm like, okay, that was not in my consciousness before. This thing right there. Also, they have added the white roses on the wall. That's for Villains Grove. I'm not sure if that's going to be permanent or not, but that is a Villains Grove adornment. But this thing, I don't know what this is. This is new, and these are all over the place at Redwood Creek. We're going to keep an eye out for those. I'm not sure what they're. I mean, they have a themed function in the space, but they've also got a purpose. Probably lighting, maybe sound. I'm not sure. This bridge here, it's not a rope bridge, but a proper bridge that has been closed for some reason. That is not reopened. There's another one right there. You see that? That was not there before. Yeah, there it is. I feel like that's got to be lights. I feel like they're going to open those doors during Villains Grove and do some projections from there. And that's part of what I heard to make it more permanent. You know, so they have to keep reinstalling stuff every single year for Villains Grove. Those are the permanent parts, I believe. They've closed the meet and greet area. That's where you meet Santa Claus down there. That's closed off. They're doing some work on that as well. I don't know exactly what's going on in there. When I poked my camera through, I couldn't really see anything. I mean, the basics are all there. That's the little queue space that you walk down that space before you meet Santa or Raya. Okay, walking down that final path as you make your way towards the exit, there's another one. Okay, I'm positive this was not there before, where the deers are. This is in the Snow White section of Villains Grove. Again, I got to feel like that's lighting that they're doing there. I looked for any sort of signs of the lightning strikes in the trees. It's a beautiful effect that they do for Villains Grove. It's one of my main reasons why I love this so much, but I didn't see anything installed yet. So there's still work to be done to get this ready for Villains Grove, but they could do that off hours. Trying to see if I can't poke my camera in there again through the log to see if I can find anything happening. I don't think it's anything drastic what they're doing to that meet and greet space, but we'll keep our eyes open for that in future trips through Redwood Creek. Yeah, right there. That's where you meet Santa. See where those bricks are. That's the space where you meet Santa, and it looks like it's untouched so far. So hard to say what they might have planned. Not sure also if these lighting instruments are new or permanently installed. There's some more of that blonde wood for the rails there, and there's another one of those treehouse looking things that they're for show full all year, but I think they will have a function during Villains Grove and Oogie Boogie Bash. And then this is the weather station that you can see outside of the attraction. This is as you just walk in, you pass through the Redwood. You'll see that on your right as you pass by. So they have a themed element. This is the weather station. Other ones were observatories. They were cameras, quote unquote, to spy on birds and things like that. They've got them all over the place. I'm looking forward to seeing what the result of that is when they reopen. Let's go to downtown Disney, where a few weeks ago we talked about a permit being filed to demo a fountain. Turns out it's not this one. We know that for sure now. We'll get back to that. We have news about the Earl of Sandwich. As I understand it, the Portos gig is back on track. They are going to build Portos, and they are going to build on this site, I think. I feel like that's still a very good possibility. We'll show you why here in a second. So what that leaves us with, again, is that question, as we've discussed in the past, where or actually how will they build Portos? As you may or may not know, Portos are notoriously enormous. They're very big structures, biggest damn bakery you'll ever see in your life. It could not possibly fit in that Earl of Sandwich site. So the question is, how big are they going to make it, and where will they take that space? Will they bring it out into the path a little bit? That's why I thought maybe they might take out that fountain. Or will they extend it? They'll make it wide instead of fat and extend it to our left as we face it into the seating area. And then they would make because there's a lot of seating inside the Portos as well. I feel like they're going to build it out towards the left, towards the entrance to DCA. This is the fountain that is being demoed. In fact, it's gone now as we speak. We're out in front of Tortilla Joe's, and there's a big green scrim up where they are in the process of demoing that fountain, probably for the same reasons, or it's the beginning of the demo of the Tortilla Joe's building. As a matter of fact, if you look right there, they took the sign down. The Tortilla Joe's sign has been removed from the front of that building. That's the beginning. Let's take a look through the scrim. There it is. There's the absence of that green fountain. That is gone. And again, I feel like this is just part of the beginning of the process of them demoing the Tortilla Joe's building, getting ready to build that new building that's going to have a steakhouse and a barbecue joint, 2 restaurants on 1 footprint. Now we're back at the Earl of Sandwich. A lot of guys back there working, a lot of cutting, etc. The permit for this structure has been updated as of July 24th. And the reason for that is, as I understand it, it's been approved. It's ready. They can open up Earl of Sandwich. Basically, as soon as they're done building it, they can open it. We are very close to the temporary Earl of Sandwich being open. So much so, as we make our way around the corner, look at that. They have replaced, or they have put, an order sign over that window that used to be just that red thing that was covering the white apparatus that is over those windows. You can now place an order right here and then pick it up right there. And you can even eat it right next door to Earl of Sandwich. You got 3 tables and 3 umbrellas, and it looks like they got a couple more. They're probably going to put up some more tables, which they need because Earl's had a ton of seating over there at La Brea Bakery, and it did as well at the original Earl of Sandwich too. So they're going to try to accommodate some of those guests at least. So that's a good sign that they're getting close to opening. Okay, so if they're ready to move in here, you can hear the racket. If they're ready to move in here, then that means that they have to be ready. They're going to demo that other building, right? That's the only possible thing that could happen. It's the only possible move that they would have for that. That building will be demoed, or will begin to be demoed, shortly after they open up that temporary structure. Din Tai Fung. No rope droppers on this day. We got here at almost the exact same time as we did last week, 11 a.m. Just those 2 right there. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I'm not sure. But not near as many rope droppers on this day as there were last week. No updates this week. Obviously, I don't expect any for a while from the site where Earl of Sandwich is going to be built, at least now that we know, though. It's probably back on track. What's not on track right now, though, is this retail building. We've been talking about this. Why is this not getting anywhere? As I understand it, there's been they missed their permit inspection. There were some issues with, however, the build out here, so that's caused some delays. They've had to redo some stuff, so that is behind schedule right now. The retail part of it. So we'll have to keep waiting to find out what's getting placed in these locations. I still don't know what retail locations are coming, but there will be 5 shops there next door to the Parkside Market, which is obviously still behind scrim and scaffold. Difficult to see anything. I can't get close enough to peek through the scrims. All I can vaguely see is steel and the wood elements there. So once more, we'll jump on the monorail next door and get the latest on what's happening here on the ground in front of the main entrance. And they have dug a giant hole now. They've cleared the concrete and dug an even deeper hole. Looks like about 2 feet deep, maybe, in that space. So that's probably for the electrical stuff that they're working on there below grade. And then the one in front of the gates 19 and 20, the tree trick is no longer a trick. And they are in the process of doing the same exact thing there, looking like they're going to dig out this almost the identical hole behind those walls. As for the monorail itself, we know that it's closing on August 12th in about 2 weeks. And right now, or so far, we don't have a return date. It's actually going to be till at least September 7th, as that is as far into the future as we can see on the calendar. I thought maybe it was because of the heat, but I have been advised that the reason why they are having to close the monorail is not to do any sort of specific repair, but because the construction at the retail building at downtown Disney that, that is the work there is going to start getting too close to the monorail. And this is something we had before. When they first started building that building, they closed the monorail because the work was getting too close. So they're probably going to have some heavy machinery in there, and it'll be too close to the track. So they're going to close that for a while. So it's going to be at least a month right now, and then we'll have to wait and see. But I would guess the result of this, hopefully, is that we get some forward progress on that retail building. And with that, that brings us to Tomorrowland in Disneyland. Delightful. Where we can talk about Space Mountain. Our theory turned out to be true. They're closing Space Mountain on August 5th, and that suggested to me that that was because they felt like they were going to have the Haunted Mansion open before then, which turned out to be the case. Space Mountain will close on August 5th. We have a date. It's going to reopen on September 5th, so it'll be closed for 1 month. We have new permits here as well. This one's interesting. Reshroud existing column with drywall and steel. Okay, that's probably not guest facing. And retheme existing opening at loading platform only with electrical. Is that the blue lights at the launch? It's not exactly the loading platform, but it is a retheme job, I would guess. And then we have the second one, electrical for new LED lights within attraction queue. Now that's important because that is an upgrade. If I understand correctly, the LED lights are an improvement over the lights that were in the queue space previously. So this is good news. So about a month, hopefully, to restore those blue lights at the launch and to upgrade the lights in the queue. And hopefully it'll go from looking like this to looking like this. And with that, we'll get on the Disneyland Railroad for my favorite part of the journey. We're going to see what's happening in Critter Country. From the train along the way, we'll see that there's even more. They're building something on the other side of this wall right here. They're building something at the back side of the Haunted Mansion queue. On the other side of that wall right there will be new queue for the Haunted Mansion. Last week was a really interesting update. You know, we're getting to see those new poles getting installed and what their purpose might be, and the queue is going to start taking shape here. We're going to start seeing that materialize in front of our eyes. Well, actually, not so much, because who knows what we're going to be able to see from the train. And the Mark Twain will be another story, because the top deck, the Texas deck, has been closed a lot recently, which we'll get to in a minute. But for now, we can see more clearly, it looks like they've added a few of those new wooden poles. Could be trees, or it could be speakers. Some people are speculating they're going to be like the speakers that are out in the queue at Magic Kingdom, where you can hear the music. They're going to have radio transmissions throughout the queue space. So that's a possibility. I could see that being a case. Oh, are those? Oh. And then look all the way in the back. I didn't see this the first couple times through. Yeah, I may be inclined to think those are speaker towers, simply because there's so many of them. In this shot now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's at least 8 of them. I can't imagine they're going to build 8 fake trees. They had a hard enough time building, 3 of them out in the front of the attraction? Here's the backside of Hungry Bear. Again, I don't expect to see updates here, although there will be visible changes to the exterior of the dining location, but not yet. We'll turn around, and definitely now almost the entirety of that barn now is painted yellow. It's mostly yellow with some green trim, which should be the case. Those are Tiana's colors, so I kind of like it, and I want this to look different than the old Splash Mountain building. I feel like that's necessary. It's difficult to follow in Splash Mountain's footsteps, so don't try to be Splash Mountain again. Be your own thing, have your own personality, do your own thing. I think it's a good decision to paint those buildings yellow and green like that. And what else? Whatever else they need to do to separate itself from Splash Mountain. Next up, we'll get on the Adventureland Treehouse to see if we can't find anything from this elevated view. And really, it's the wall right there. They've constructed that wall, which I don't know if that's permanent. It's in about the space, that wall you see there, where the wall is being built to separate the Haunted Mansion queue from the Tiana's Palace sort of open area seating. If you look at the concept art, there is a wall separating those two spaces. I don't know if that's what that wall is, but that's approximately where it should be, although it looks like it's sort of bending in the wrong direction. Here's something that I caught, before we get on the Mark Twain, here's something I caught from the streets of New Orleans Square. Look at this guy. We mentioned Haunted Mansion. By the time you see this, it'll be open already. But we've been watching them install the decorations at lightning speed here the last couple days. And this guy's putting on this Jack Skellington jack-o'-lantern and having looks to be a difficult time of it at that. And then there he is again. There it is. Hey. Now that looks like it's the jack-o'-lantern that would go at the entrance. It's not. He's actually putting that on something really noteworthy, which we'll get to. But here's a few more of the decorations on the ground. They moved on this quickly. This happened almost instantaneously. We were very excited on social media a couple days ago about this happening. And hopefully, I think the fact that they are putting all these decorations up means we're going to get a reasonable view of all of this. Even the jack-o'-lantern that we just saw before, I think we're going to be able to see that, and maybe something else. Now, before we get into Mark Twain, let's talk about how guests are getting in. These are solid pieces of fence put up here, but there are gaps where that door is. That space, that stretch of maybe 3 or 4 panels are separate from the rest of those walls. So I feel like that's the way in. You're going to go in through that door area and then make a slight left towards the entrance. I also feel like, there it is again next to those trash cans, I also feel like because this path is blocked towards Critter Country and that's all one giant section of wall there, I don't think they're going to open us up. I don't think we're going to exit through the crypt. Exactly. We are going to exit through the crypt, but we're going to come back out that same door. I think it's going to be one path in for both directions, and they're going to intersect. They're going to join. By the way, while I was here, I noticed there was a hole in the wall. Let's take a peek. And on the other side of that fence there, on the other side of the wood, is the crypt exit. So we can see they got still a long way to go on this space, so I don't expect the concrete would have to be poured here already. It would have to be already done, so I don't think they're going in there. What you need is finished concrete that will have set by the time guests show up. That right there, through this little crack, that is finished concrete. And that is through the same door space that I was showing you before about where the guests will enter. So I think it's one space for guests, one entrance, and one space for guests to both enter and exit, although the path will obviously separate. Now, let's get on the Mark Twain where the Texas deck was closed. That's the top deck. So I don't get a very good view this week, and hopefully that's not an ongoing situation because, as I was advised, it's because of the heat. The heat is affecting guests' ability to go up those stairs. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a permanent condition or not. I hope not, because the view here is not near as good as it is from the Texas deck. There's the space here, Tiana's Palace, outdoor dining seating, and then, yeah, there's our look over the wall such that it is from the promenade deck. But you can see there's the entrance. They have finished the brick veneers on the 2 columns that frame the entrance, the threshold to Haunted Mansion, which is very, very exciting. They've even installed one of the lighting instruments, one of the lamps there. Again, very exciting. It's like just like it was. It'll be like it never happened. This makes me so happy. It makes me so happy that they can completely and utterly destroy a thing and then make it look like it never happened. By the way, they have installed some of the themed signage there, you know, the fast pass and standby entrance signs. Although right now it's just the Haunted Mansion logo type situation there, but yet last week those were just empty, black. And that's really all we can see. All we can see is what's clearly stuck out over the wall. We can't see over the wall at all. We can't see anything happening on the ground or near to the ground back there. The Haunted Mansion will slide to the right into the entrance. I mean, we can see decorations, lots and lots of decorations. And there is that jack-o'-lantern that we saw that Imagineer, that guy trying to affix to something. At first I thought it was the entrance, but it's not. What it's on top of right there, that is the hearse. You guys, they've moved the hearse. That is its final location. I'm 99% sure of that. That is its final location. The hearse will now be on your right as you walk in, that first stretch as you walk into the mansion queue, instead of at the point where you turn near to the entrance. They've moved the Haunted Mansion out to its side, and they've kind of created a little space, a side path, I think, for guests to stop and take a picture in front of the hearse so that they don't interrupt the flow of the queue space. And I think also there was going to be some Magic Band interactivity here. I was told that although you can't see it from here, there is a Magic Band, I don't know, one of those stands where you can, flash your band and it'll do something. So that's cool. So they've added some, interactivity there. So look for the hearse on your right. It's, as we pan over here, it's normally about where that, on the other side of that tree right there. It will not be there on the right anymore, or at the U-turn part of the queue. There's the best look we can get of the crypt exit. Nothing to report on here. I can't see anything. Unfortunate. So right about where that hard hat is, right there, that's about where the hearse was, I think. Or maybe that hard hat, that Imagineer hard hat. One of those, in that general area over there. But today, going forward, it'll be right there. Virtual queue, you guys, on Monday. As you're watching this, it will be open. Virtual queue only, no standby. The virtual queue opens at 7 a.m. They'll have one then, and then they'll have another one at noon, just as they always have in past virtual queues. You get 2 chances to be able to ride or to get a virtual queue spot. There will be no standby, no lightning lane, no individual lightning lane. This is virtual queue only. It's the only way they can get guests into this building because the queue is still under construction. They have to do it 100% virtual. There will still be loiterers around there, I'm sure, but that's what we're at today. Be prepared for that. I'm going to put something up on our newsletter on Monday also, showing guests how to, go through the process of booking a virtual queue. As a matter of fact, if I'm lucky, I will show you guys the virtual queue right here and now as we show this, what I did to get a virtual queue for World of Color. It's the same exact process. Stay tuned. For now, we'll keep going on the Mark Twain and see what we can find for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And again, because we're on the second level, the promenade, we're not going to be able to see very much over the wall. Texas deck is closed. I may try again Sunday. Maybe we can get that here in time. But for now, so what we're left with is just being able to see the tops of those, the vertical structures that are being built there. There's like 8 or 9 of them. You can see they've installed another 4 or so since last week. Could be trees, although I think that's less likely now. More like speakers for the radio broadcasts that are going to be, guests are going to hear from the queue space. And then hopefully next week we'll be able to see over the wall to see if they start working on installing any of those paving stones in the queue space, which would be lovely. Oh, here we go. We got a slight look through this little gap right here. That's the entrance to the Hungry Bear on the right, which looks like it's going to be going through some things here pretty soon. That sign right there. So you can see that they're getting ready to install something around the vertical steel structure there. And that gap over there where the electrical is still a gap. My guess is that's going to be providing power to those electrical poles for the speakers and probably to the themed elements that are in the queue space. And then there's Hungry Bear, soon to be called the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. Notice this week there's scrim and scaffolding over the very tippy top of that dining location. They're probably going to be adding something up there. They're going to probably add either a country bear or maybe add a sign of some kind, but that's why they're putting, I think, scaffolding around that top. Looking to see, I think they took down the other bear, the bear that's hanging over the side of the dining area over there. Oh wait, or is that the wrong section? Yeah, he's over here in the back. That's where he would be, is right there. But again, I think that's also been removed. Very soon, guys, very soon. We're not as far off as you think. New Orleans Square is on its way to becoming more of itself, more like it was in the past. And we're going to forget. We're going to forget all about what happened. And hopefully in the same way we forgot what they did to the, remember when they tore out the steps and they changed the path between, Pirates and Haunted Mansion? Soon we'll just have a brand new perspective of New Orleans Square, and it's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to the new and improved New Orleans Square, which brings us to the backside near the Mint Julep Bar and the New Orleans Square station. We'll take one more look at that queue space, at that space between Tiana's Palace and Haunted Mansion. Considerably less big equipment out here, which is a good sign. We've got a cement mixer right there in frame. That's a great sign, getting ready for cement in this space. But I have a feeling we're going to start seeing themed elements arise here pretty soon. And I also like the looks of this pile of debris back here, which means they're done-ish with whatever it was, whatever that was that we're doing. By the way, let's look at this wall. There again are the two brick columns defining the entrance to Haunted Mansion. But I don't think that's the final shape of that wall that we're talking about that's going to separate Haunted Mansion from Tiana's Palace. So some of it could be, I don't think that's functional. I think that's going to be something else entirely. I mean, we're looking at probably January, I think, for all of this to be done, but it may not be too long before at least these walls are down. And then maybe January for this view that we're looking at here to turn into this once more. All right, just a couple more odds and ends. No news, no update on the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. People are wondering still if they're going to have a Walt animatronic. We don't know as of yet. It's still closed. Still no entry to the Disney Gallery from either the Great Moments entrance or from Disney on a store. And no update here on the walls around Fantasyland Theater. Everything is pretty much just as we left it before. And I still don't know exactly what they're doing here, although, again, my suspicion is nothing major, just concrete paving. And that's it. That is our update for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. Also, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter that is now official. Our first broadcast will probably be on Monday, I believe, as I mentioned earlier. There's a link to that in the description. And then do stay tuned. I'm going to show you some highlights of the Deadpool and Wolverine Storytime with Deadpool as seen at Avengers Campus in that queue space next to the Hyperion Theater. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, guys. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.
Hi there. Oh, I know what you're all thinking. Whose ears did I have to wear to get my very own show at Disney? It took a lot of begging, and I spent a lot of time on my knees begging to get into this park. So thank you all for joining us for story time with Deadpool. So, what I did was I looked at Philippe. I jumped into his face and I said, Philippe, where is Papa? Is he in some sort of trouble? I asked the horse this like he was some sort of television horse that could understand English and respond. But he wasn't. He's a horse. Yeah. So he just whinnied. And I'm not really brushed up on my horse, so I mounted Philippe and said, away to Papa, quickly! And away we galloped.
They don't care about your story. Come on, we gotta go.
No, this is a special moment for everybody here. Let's take some pictures like prom.
We gotta go. No time.
No, this isn't for me, Wolvie. This is for the kids. And all of the adults streaming this to their social media. That's somewhere.
I'm out of here.
Okay, all right, well, I guess he's going. Yeah, you hear that? They're glad you're leaving. Well, for what it's worth, they all lived happily ever after. That is until the direct-to-video releases, which the residuals on those are terrible. Pennies on the dollar. Did anyone see Once Upon a Deadpool? No, we're playing me off.